Joining us now, editor-in-chief for Foreign Policy, Ravi Agrawal. All right, so can we get to the subtext of what J.D. Vance was talking about there when he's telling these countries they need to embrace nationalism, embrace more voices? Who is he saying they need to embrace?
Well, he specifically named Romania as one election that was annulled in part because the results weren't to the liking, he said, of people there. But of course, there were concerns about Russian interference. So he was alluding to that. But he could also be talking about the German party AfD, which Elon Musk has put his weight behind. This is a far right party with some connections to a history of Nazism. That could be another allusion, although he didn't name it specifically. It's very telling, however, that for all his concern about freedom of speech, he didn't mention that that is a problem in Russia. He didn't mention that that is a problem in China. Those are two countries that he did not even mention. He did not mention Ukraine in the speech that we're talking about. It was a speech that stunned everyone. Responses I got immediately after from foreign ministers of various European countries were either things that I can't repeat on a family channel, or a real steely resolve that this is the clearest sign yet that Europe needs to get its act together and figure out how to go it alone.
He met with the leader of AfD, which is the far right party you were just referring to in Germany, Alice Weidel. What are the aims of these parties, of AfD, of the other far right ultranationalist parties that are trying to take power across Western nations? What do they want to do?
Look, it's the same as far-right parties in other parts of the world as well. There is common cause in trying to clamp down on immigration. There's a constant fear of the outsider, the other. There are racial undertones to this. J.D. Vance mentioned Brexit as well in the UK as being an example of how you have to listen to your people because they're telling you to stop letting people in, to have tougher immigration policies, to cancel sort of ideas about wokeness, for example. Those are all familiar themes for many parties on the far right spectrum, some that are in power in Europe, some that wish to in countries like France and Germany, but also it's something that finds common cause with other far right parties in other parts of the world, you know, in Asia, in Africa as well. This is not uncommon. Javier Milei in Argentina. And in a sense, there's a feedback loop between all of these parties and groups. And that is kind of what Vice President Vance was trying to sort of build a feedback loop around in saying you have to listen to your people. The democracy sort of point he was making was truly stunning. And I will say also hypocritical. There were people in the audience who were thinking, what about January 6th? They didn't say it at the moment, but as soon as the speech was over, that is all they could talk about.
We should, talk about how well Brexit has gone for the UK and how well the economy is doing over there since they decided to get out of the European Union. But I want to ask you a broader question about the Western order of things. It's been about 70 years since the Second World War, since these countries all decided to band together, form alliances, both physically, so there's, free movement within these countries, but also through trade, things that would stabilize the Western world so that we wouldn't be throwing ourselves into another world war, trying to tamp back on some of the nationalism that led us there. Are we finding ourselves at the beginning of a new order?
I've been calling it a new world disorder. There is nothing orderly about this new system that we're moving into where rules and norms don't matter, where tariffs can make a mockery of the WTO, where countries can say one thing and do another with seeming impunity, where you have a country like Russia, which can invade another country and really largely go unpunished by much of the rest of the world, despite Western sanctions. We're entering an era of impunity, and I think a lot of countries around the world see it, they smell it. In some cases, if they're on the far right, they want to take advantage of it to take advantage of their own people. But there are many countries, so-called swing states, countries like Saudi Arabia or in India or in Indonesia, that have long felt that the old order didn't quite benefit them as much as it should. And now they're looking to take advantage of it by sort of picking and choosing sides depending on the issue. And when they see a President Trump who is quote unquote transactional or opportunistic, their response is, okay, come be transactional with us. We will pick and choose the deals that make sense for us because, frankly, we never believed in your values anyway. That is the new disorder that we are now entering, and it becomes more and more clear at a conference like this. I, too, have been coming here for many years, and Europeans in particular who have relied on America for stability, for support, they realize that they now have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, this is what Macron has been warning against. Really quickly, I don't have any time left, but do they take it? Are they taking Donald Trump seriously when he says he wants to have Greenland, when he wants to make Canada the 51st state, when he says the U.S. is going to have Gaza or retake the Panama Canal?
They can't not. They've seen enough of him to know that he does often do what he says. But, you know, in that whole debate over seriously versus literally, I think they've learned to just prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But really, their expectations as of now of Trump are quite low, despite what they say in public, despite the shows of bravery. I think there's a real sense that the old United States, Trump 1 was a blip, Trump 2 is a norm, is a trend line.
Yeah. Ravi Agarwal, thank you so much. Really good to have you.